focus determines your reality.
Hello there.
General Kenobi!
You don't know the power of the dark side.
And welcome back to Disciples of the Force podcast. I am your host, Spencer Silva, with my great co-host, Austin Hyatt.
Hello.
This is coming out a little later. We didn't record yesterday. Just too many moving parts. Couldn't get it to sync.
I was very sick, and I'm sorry.
And I was tired.
Okay, perfect.
Got some big moves going on right now. We'll let you know when they're confirmed.
Sure.
Anyway, we want to start off this episode from our first ever question to us. Thank you.
Our guy.
Thank you. I won't say your last name, but thank you, Michael. Thank you for the question. He did it on Spotify, which I didn't know you could do. I just got an email one day. I was like, oh, that's awesome. His question from last week's episode was, do you think Thrawn leaves them all stuck there and the only way they can get home is the skeleton crew? Cool thing about that, he did leave them all there.
Yeah.
But Austin had some good points about this if you wanted to go.
I had just read before that Jon Favreau said not to expect a skeleton crew tie-in to a Mandoverse movie. So I don't think they'll play a part in it. And the whole pitch of the series is that the skeleton crew is going to be in a part of the galaxy we've never explored before. So maybe that could have meant like this kind of section of stuff we're seeing now. But I think Disney just wants to go a different direction and something new with them,
Right.
which I'm fine with. But it would be cool if we did see an incorporation like that.
Yeah.
I'm still excited for skeleton crew. So great question.
It is a really good question. I didn't think about it. And it would be awesome if they did. I mean, I could see them doing that like a one-off, one part. So, yeah. Anyway.
Question on Michael. Do you know him?
Don't know.
There's a lot of people with that last name in the Tooele County area, so I wondered if there was some relation.
No, I don't know. But thank you for the question. We really appreciate that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a fan. Which brings us the giveaway. To our listeners, if you didn't do it on TikTok, I'm sorry. That was really your only way of entering. We had some great submissions, a lot of people showing up for this. Anyway, so to keep it unbiased, we are just going to use a little application here to do it for us. Sorry, I didn't allow screen recording for some reason. Dun, 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 dun.
While he's doing that, the winner of this, just think of how lucky you are. I mean, we had over 100,000 entries. The odds of winning is just insane. So we really appreciate your entries. But here's to the lucky one, huh?
Here's to the lucky one. All right, I'm going to send it off right here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the winner is Jack.D. Lewis.
Hey, congratulations. We will get in contact with you about where to send this. Thank you for everyone who joined, and we hope you keep listening to the podcast. But yeah, super awesome, Jack. We'll send that out to you and get the information from you.
Thank you, guys. And if you didn't win this one, we are going to do a giveaway in the future, so keep entering. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, if TikTok doesn't shadow ban us again.
Jeez, that's so annoying.
3 videos pop off, and every time we try to do the giveaway one, it got like 300 views.
Yeah, if you've been listening for a while, every time I talk about viewership numbers or anything, I'm lying. So there weren't really 100,000 entries. There were less than that, and we were pretty upset about it. So, but we appreciate the people that did.
We were really excited. So this is what you'll be winning, and you better treat it right.
It really is a good build.
It's awesome. I don't know why I was just too much of my brain going right there.
Okay.
There's gonna be so much editing. Okay. So let's jump into Ahsoka, man. I'm here for it, huh?
Okay, perfect.
So this is the first episode we didn't watch together.
Yeah, that's sad.
Sad. The finale we didn't watch together. What's wrong with us?
You know what I was so mad about too?
What's up?
Actually, Grace told me I can't talk about her on my podcast anymore because I always say something negative. But
About
I'm going
her?
to. She doesn't listen to this one. Yeah. I get home last night sick. Okay. Had a long day. 2 hours of sleep I'm running on.
Ugh.
All I want to do is
Warzone?
No. So went to bed after Warzone.
Mhm.
Sorry for the fans. went to bed after Warzone, fell asleep for an hour, woke up with this crazy stomach pain.
Ooh.
Went and just threw my guts up, dude. It was horrible. And then I couldn't fall asleep until I had to go to work. So I was awake all night. So 1 hour of sleep. It was horrible.
That's terrible.
Anyway, I get home from what I was doing, and Grace beautifully has Disney Plus queued up.
Nice.
So I set all my things down. I walk out of the room. I walk back in. She notices I'm not with you or with anybody. So she takes that as a cue that we're not watching Ahsoka. She changes it to Netflix.
Oh.
And she was like 30 minutes into a show that was 50 minutes. So I'm like, okay, I'll just wait these 20 minutes and then I'll watch it. She finishes, and then the next one starts. And I was like, could I use the TV for Ahsoka? This brand new nice TV I bought. And then she was like, sure you can. Made me feel bad. So I had to go watch it on my crappy TV.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
but I'm going to rewatch it. Anyway, I was pretty upset. I had to watch the finale alone and in a dark room with my crappy TV.
sorry.
So
Yeah,
that was my bad.
That's on me. That's on Poppy. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, let's dive into it then.
Let's do it. Yeah.
'cause we haven't talked about it really at all. We messaged back and forth. So the episode name was The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. This is my speculation of why I thought Moff Gideon was going to be in it.
Right.
Warlord.
Yeah.
Because they had kept attributing everything that happened was like, oh, they're just warlords, yada yada.
Yeah.
So that's what I was hoping. Didn't, which is okay. But
Well, I like the title of Warlord to Thrawn because he's never really been referred to as that. So I think that's kind of like a cool direction that they're going in,
okay.
where he's not a part of the Empire anymore. He's going to be leading this Imperial remnant. And so that comes with like a different title and a different view of his leadership.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. Also, the Jedi, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
Or
The way you
Warlord.
said it,
I
yeah.
literally thought it was like an allusion to the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Which there's no way it is.
There's no.
but-
I think it's just a play on words that
Right.
worked for that. But yeah.
Right. So
And one thing I want to point out in this episode, it was funny to me. Thrawn's allegiance to the Empire has definitely changed. You know, according to the books, he's a lot more. This is the Empire. I'm all in kind of.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I made that same note because there's like that one part where they're chanting his name. I have a note here for it. I can't remember. But he's like, yeah, it's not for me. It's for the Empire. Which his whole thing has always been the Empire just served the purposes of like protecting the Chiss and everything like that. Like it's just kind of an ulterior motive,
Right.
him being a part of the Empire. But this seems like he's really a true believer in it.
Which maybe that's what happened when he was gone all that time on the planet. So very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it is harder to look at these after it's been a day because
Yeah.
I'm like looking at my notes. Like, what does that mean? I said, fell to the heroics of a single Jedi.
That's my first note too. So
Do you
he
know what that
says
is?
this wouldn't be the first time I fell to the heroics of a single Jedi, referring to when Ezra kind of took him out and took him to this new galaxy.
Right.
So
right.
I thought that was cool.
That was very cool. Yeah. Okay. That's exactly why I wrote it.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it was. And the next thing I have here is the Blade of Talzin.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that?
So you said you didn't really like it, right?
I think it was just because like we've seen this before.
Yeah.
In Clone Wars, Windu and Mother Talzin going hand to hand with it. Didn't look weird to me. I don't know why. For some reason, in live action, it felt. I think it was like, because in cartoon, I'm like, yeah, cool, but I'm seeing a blade go against a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Which it has dark magic, so it's like there's a reason for it. And like I said to you, Beskar could fight lightsabers too, so it's not super far fetched. I don't know why it was hard for me to get behind.
Really?
It after I've seen it before, so I don't know.
I was totally fine with it. I just liked the mention of Talcin and her
Right.
blade.
Yeah,
So I was totally with it.
you're with it.
Yeah.
I just and it was one of those things like I could see people being upset.
Well, it is
because it's totally foreign from anything we've seen in live action.
Right, exactly. And now Ahsoka's going to be wielding that with her lightsaber, which was a surprise because her dual lightsabers have always been iconic, you know, like
Right.
so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, this is the second time because the Mandalorian didn't the lightsaber get busted?
In The Mandalorian.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of something else.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the first time
Oh
we've ever.
yes, remember they destroyed the Darksaber. The Darksaber got destroyed at one point. We talked about it. We were like, I can't believe they just destroyed the Darksaber.
Oh, that's right.
I don't remember. It was probably this last season. I'm pretty sure.
It would have had to be this last season.
Yeah, because we were like, holy shit, this thing has got a lot of stuff behind it.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
like
is, and it's
a big commitment. Interesting.
Yeah. So this is 2 lightsabers busted.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Anyway, sorry. Keep doing.
Let's see. Oh, dude, you're right. This is hard. I have method, not a process. I don't know what the hell that means.
Dang, not another bad episode. You think about that, okay?
Something about okay. Hu Yang is telling Ezra that he doesn't have a process, but he has a method. Don't know why that was noteworthy to me in the moment, but I thought it was cool that Hu Yang. Oh, that was one question I had.
Okay.
Sabine comes in and refers to Kanan as Kanan, and Hu Yang is like, "Yeah, I knew him." Yada yada, and then he refers to him as Caleb Dune.
Yeah.
Which, how would Hu Yang have known that Caleb Dune was Kanan, unless there was some off-screen explanation from Ahsoka to him? Which, now that I'm saying that makes a lot of sense. Like, why wouldn't that? That's an easy thing to tell Hu Yang.
Yeah, I guess because I wasn't thinking about that, because I was more thinking like, oh, of course he would know him as Caleb because that's who he was in the Jedi Order.
Right.
But I see what you're saying. How did he know the
How did he know him as Kanan? But yeah,
they must have just been an off thing, which is interesting. Which, I mean, it makes sense the writing of it to throw that in there, because if people have seen Bad Batch, or I mean, if you've seen Rebels, you know that.
Right.
So maybe it's gonna play in later. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. I always complain about too much exposition in shows and movies, but when there's not an exposition for a stupid line like that, I'm like, what? How would he know that?
Because that's the other thing. We've been attacking Hu Yang this whole time.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh yeah, we get it, dude. We know what's happening.
Yeah.
And then we want him to do that.
Gosh. Yeah.
We
can never be happy.
Yeah, I guess we're real Star Wars fans. Never happy, never content.
Right.
I did like it though. The live action building a lightsaber was really fun.
Yeah, very cool.
Very cool. Yeah,
and
I just loved it.
He uses a replica of Kanan's emitter.
Oh, really?
For his new build. Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, very cool. Like the rounded thing.
Oh, yeah, the top. Very cool. The next thing I have here is I was really confused why they were going so slow. Like they were traveling with like everyone.
I didn't get that.
Do they not know the time-sensitive thing that's happening? Like you're about to get left on this planet if you don't hurry. And they're just cruising with them and going slow in the ship. I thought that was just an interesting writing decision, considering how do they not know the stakes they're at?
Well, that was one of my big gripes with all of it. With this whole episode was like, why are they not going? Thrawn said like multiple times, we need more time, we need more time. We need more time to prep things to leave, but at the same time, we need to beat Ahsoka and leave before she gets here.
Right.
That's what I didn't understand. I was like, what's the constraints? Because from the looks of it, as this episode started, all the cargo had been loaded. Everything was ready.
Right.
Maybe it's because the Eye of Sion was coming out of orbit, and that's what they were waiting on. I didn't understand that. So I was like, why is this pace so like weird?
Yeah.
But that really bothered me, where they're just chugging along with the no tea. Because I was like, what? Because they understood the stakes, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
They had to.
Anyway, just weird. Just weird. But like Ahsoka's literally sitting on top of the ship just chilling, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing, is like they're all so nonchalant.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I was gonna say Sabine did know, but then I was like, no, he's mentioned that after when she left. So I mean, I guess they never have verbally been told that, but you would think in your mind.
Yeah, you just like everybody runs off, their transports come and pick up the stormtroopers, and everybody's gone. Like, wouldn't you just pursue them as fast as you can?
Wasn't there an alarm going off?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big indicator something's going on. Also, it's like, he can't leave because he needed Morgan Elsbeth to get here.
Right.
So now that she's here, don't you think he's going to leave and go back? So he's not going to stay here forever. I'd want to leave a planet pretty quickly if I was stranded there for years.
I don't know. There were a lot of things I didn't like about this episode. I really liked this episode, but some of those things, like nitpicky things like that. Also, in the last episode, Ezra was so adamant about not needing a lightsaber. Yeah. And then we open up with him building a lightsaber and using it the entire time. Maybe it's because he wanted Sabine to have it so she was more protected or something.
Yeah.
Now that he has the option to have one. But anyway, I just thought that was kind of weird too.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Hey, it's fun to pick it out, huh?
Yeah.
But what's next on your list? That's
Ezra's blue lightsaber.
Yeah, it's
previously
cool.
had green. So that's noteworthy. And then I liked when Sabine and Ahsoka are talking, and Sabine says, "I try," and then she corrects herself and says, "I do." It's like Yoda saying, "Do or do not." There's no try.
Oh, it's a really good one.
It seemed kind of forced. That's the only reason I noticed it. So
I mean, I remember her saying that, but I did not even associate that.
Oh, really?
So that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone else knows. It's just in La La Land when it happened.
Guys, comment down below if you noticed that.
The next thing I have is the Night Troopers. So I don't know if you have anything to do that.
Okay, when they pull up on the Howlers, and Ahsoka turns to Ezra and she's like, "Do you know how to get up there?" All that stuff. And he's like, "I've stayed away from here," which makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
And I liked when Ahsoka said, "Let's try the front door." That's just like a super Clone Wars-y thing to say. Which, I mean, again, if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, aren't affiliated or aren't familiar, holy crap, with the animation and like the style of their quips and the funny things they say, that might sound cringy and not,
right.
But I liked it.
Yeah, on par for Dave Filoni and his writing. So yeah, I agree.
Then I have Thrawn saying that there's no negotiating with the apprentice of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker. So pretty cool.
That was cool.
Just really great acting from Thrawn all around.
He's so good. He's such a good actor.
Just the facial expressions, like the fear in his eyes when he realizes they're coming. Very cool. But then I'm on the Night Troopers. So let's talk about that.
So this is probably, like you said, I love this episode. I don't think it's a very strong finale. For a finale of a season, I'm going to give it like a 4.
Right.
Nah, you got a 5. It just, because I'm used to just cliffhangers, just like, whoa. But one thing I didn't like about it was the Night Troopers, which have been teased. A lot of people have been like, oh, 100%, like, that's what's going to happen. That's what we're predicting are in the boxes, our bodies, which we haven't. Was that officially confirmed?
I don't know if it's been officially confirmed, but with them arriving at Dathomir at the end, I'm sure those are all, Night Sisters.
So, and then, so anyway, we have Marok, whatever his name is. He's so powerful, so strong, and he is like someone who was dead or made up of dark magic.
Right.
And he's awesome, he's cool, and he's sick. And then we get to the Night Troopers. And it's like they're so slow and zombie-esque. Like, it just made me like, I'm like, why? What? Like, it didn't even, I don't know. Go ahead.
Which could work. It really could have worked. So two things. Later on in the episode, when there's the Death Troopers, and he's got like the broken helmet, and you can see like the zombified face underneath. That's cool. I liked that.
You liked that, huh?
Yeah, I think if they would have looked more zombie-ish, more like undead, it would have made sense. Of course, that was a different scenario because the stormtroopers that were pursuing them were like alive, real human beings, and then they had just died and then just revived. What I didn't like about that scene was how slow everything was.
Super slow.
Like the Death Troopers or whatever, or not Death Troopers, Night Troopers were super slow and just not scary enough because like those three had just torn through them like crazy.
Yeah.
So what makes them stronger now? Are they like stronger because they're undead? I don't know. Why couldn't they just go do it again?
Yeah.
But I really didn't like the choreography of any of that.
Felt very slow paced.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was just a crappy refresh rate on my crappy TV.
No, I got the same thing.
But like I was just watching Ahsoka and her choreography is so bad. Like just kind of standing there and like slowly twirling the lightsabers and like doing like unnecessary like 360s that are slow. I was like, this just isn't building any suspense. I feel like they had a vision in their heads to be like this cool reveal that they were going to be revived. And it was a little different because we all saw it coming. So maybe that's why it wasn't that cool. And then it was just so slow and not intimidating. Not like creepy zombie slow.
Yeah. But like a middle ground that didn't work. Because like if they were like super slow, then it's like, okay, I can buy it. I've seen zombie movies. I get they're supposed to be super slow. Yeah, I don't know. And I do agree. I did notice the same thing when I was watching it. I didn't feel like Ahsoka's movements were that like they didn't like it did. There was parts that like kind of felt like it's lagging almost, which maybe my phone, because I was watching on my phone, so maybe
oh really?
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Maybe that's just our devices weren't up to it.
It's kind of nitpicky, and I know we always complain about not having the prequel level choreography and things like that. But you think of the prequel movies and Jedi like tearing down droids. That's how it should have been.
Right. 3
Jedi against like 20 stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Like just run right through them, and it just wasn't like that. So.
But I think it's a little after. I do think Ezra's moves I loved. I felt
during
like,
that time.
I don't know if it was during that or after. It's in that same period of the last episode.
Well, that's why it's so interesting, is because then later in the episode, Ahsoka's choreography when she's fighting Morgan Elsbeth, awesome.
Awesome, super good.
Super, super good.
Yeah, I agree.
Like one of the most intense one-on-one duels we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Same with Ezra and Sabine versus the Death Troopers,
Yeah.
the 2 Death Troopers.
Yeah.
That was cool. But this whole zombie horde just didn't work for me.
Yeah, and I think there was a scene in the hallway where Ezra was taking names. It was cool.
Right, right.
So I don't know. Maybe it was just Ahsoka was up. But yeah, and I think maybe just that scene was not well choreographed.
Yeah.
But I do want to give some credit, or at least not credit. It's what I thought was cool, was seeing all 3 of them wielding lightsabers. I was like, man, this has been a while since we've seen just like, because thinking about the sequels, it's usually 2 people have a lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not
like in existence.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here we got 3. 3 Jedi.
Yeah.
Not really Jedi. And so I don't know. When I watched, I was like, that's cool. I do like that. I like seeing that. So I thought that was awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, I like your point. None of these guys are like actual Jedi.
Yeah. So
Pretty cool.
They can pulse from the dark side. Be a little dirty with
Yeah,
it.
dude.
So the next thing I have here is just talking about the duel between Ahsoka and Morgan Elsbeth.
Okay, perfect.
Well, I guess it's the before that is when she gets the blade.
Okay,
which is cool because you kind of see her get the
the little markings.
Which I was going to wonder if it was going to slowly fade into her face, going really white like them.
I thought it was for a second, but then I didn't.
It looked like it did get a little lighter, but
yeah,
definitely didn't get to the whiteness that they had, which would have been cool.
Right.
But yeah, I loved that fight.
So Morgan Elsbeth is a witch.
Yeah.
Is she a Dathomirian? Like, is she ethnically Dathomirian?
That's the thing, because she does say this is for Dathomir or something along those lines.
Well, yeah, like her intentions were always to help out the Night Sisters, but like she's not
full
white like that. Like Asajj Ventress, she was a Jedi and then a Sith, and then she had to be rebaptized back into the Night Sister coven. But that whole time she had that white skin and black markings.
Yeah. So maybe she's a convert or a half. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think she's. I can assume she's not a full bloodline of being Dathomirian.
Okay, that's not that it's
assume.
Important.
No. Is race important to you?
No, dude. I don't see color, bro.
That's even worse.
I know. No, but yeah, that's just something I was wondering. So
yeah, 100%. I think like you're saying, not important, but I would assume she's not full.
Yeah.
But I did love their battle. We kind of already touched on that, but I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
It was very. And then when she killed her.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
I really liked it because I felt like the death was cool because she kind of stopped and held her stomach, and that was cool. Definitely reminded me of, I don't know Kurosawa, but any type of, was that
Japanese
film.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I loved that fight. I thought it was so surprising that she chopped right through Ahsoka's saber.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Maybe they're not like as sacred as I think they are, but like, I don't know. Pretty cool. It's gonna be interesting because her white sabers have represented like her tie-in to the light, and that she like purified those crystals that she had, and now she has like a dark magic blade too. So like, what does that mean from a thematic standpoint? Not that maybe it doesn't matter at all, but
I think it would, because I think it might go into wielding it might be like harder for her because it is
that's true. Like the dark saber, like
the dark saber,
you have to connect with it.
So maybe it'll be a hard connection to get, but maybe not because she's not a full 100% pure. She might have some of that grayness. So I don't know.
Yeah. Going back to deaths, I did like the fight between the Death Troopers, the zombie Death Troopers, and Sabine and Ezra. Thought that was cool. The armor that they're wearing, like when it was getting hit and stuff, it sounded like Beskar, but then it obviously wasn't because the lightsabers went right through it. But just kind of interesting sound design. I thought it was alluding to them being Beskar, but maybe it's just Durasteel or whatever. That's what Vader's suit is made out of. I don't know.
I was like, I didn't know what that material is.
You don't know Star Wars materials, dude?
I guess not. Just Beskar.
But I loved the Ezra's decapitation of the one.
Yeah, that
you
was
like
cool.
Never see that.
Right. Well, I think the last time it's been since Attack of the Clones. Right?
Yeah, exactly. so
awesome.
Very cool, and you like see the head inside the helmet.
Yeah.
And Sabine's cool, like Kylo Ren lightsaber right on the head.
Yeah, goes through
Super
it.
sick.
That was cool. I
Yeah.
liked that. Yeah, their scene was really awesome. I
Yeah.
really did enjoy that.
I also noticed. Do you have anything else on those fights?
No, I just really enjoyed them.
Okay,
It was fun
cool.
to watch.
Cool. Last episode, or maybe a couple episodes ago, some internet sleuths decoded some of the writing on that temple and found out that it was related to the Zepho
Yes.
in Jedi Fallen Order. Interesting that never came to fruition.
Yeah, nothing's been tied into that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see next season. By the way, I read this morning and I sent it to you that Instagram, sorry.
Got
That
text me on this.
no season 2 has been confirmed for Ahsoka, which is interesting because I've always understood that it was going to be 2 seasons at least.
Right, because
I thought that was said somewhere, 2 seasons and then into the movie.
right.
And then Mando was going to
Which
be season 4 and then into the movie, right?
That's what I had heard as well. Maybe it's from you giving me false.
Probably.
No, I don't know. Well, here's the reason why I feel like it has to have a second season is, I mean, yeah, you can go into the movie, I guess, and you can go in because Mando season 4 was confirmed, was it not? I'm pretty sure it did.
I think so.
So like, I guess they could work all that, but I feel like that's a lot to bring into the movie. But along with that, if you're wanting to use Ahsoka for the movie, for people who want to watch the movie, it's not a long watch to just watch one season.
Right.
And then the movie. I don't know. I think it would work better with 2, because like, what would that movie be? Like, you're gonna have a whole 30-minute plot of trying to get Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra. Not Ezra,
Yeah.
he's gone. Off of the planet to the universe. I just like, it seems like it'd be a lot of work to make a movie off of.
Yeah, and they set up some seriously heavy stuff for Balin. So, like,
That's
there's no...
true.
If they did just shove that into a movie where you have this huge subplot of Balin in Peridia, maybe having something to do with Abeloth, and then trying to tie that in with Thrawn and everything in one movie, like 2 hours, there's no way that's happening.
Yeah.
But here's the quote. Let me read the quote. A second season of Ahsoka is still in the conversation.
which is
So
weird.
not confirmed, but like being talked about, which is so weird.
Yeah, so maybe Filoni set it up enough that if he didn't get a second season, he knows what he's going to do. But
I think he's forced their hand.
yeah,
Like, you have to have a second season. I don't know.
because where you left off, because leaving this off going into a movie.
Well, so think about this. The only 2 appearances of Balin and Shin, who were major players in this series, the only appearances of them in the finale are to set up cliffhangers.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I was
So,
thinking
like,
that too.
even just that, you can't really... I mean, maybe you could. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I mean, you could do anything if you have good writers.
Yeah.
But I think it would flow better. One more season of Mandalorian, one more season of Ahsoka. But then again, I have no idea what this movie's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we have an idea, but we don't know, the
Right.
heart of it, the meat. So it's like, maybe he knows what he's got. I don't know.
You know what they should have done?
What did they should?
No Ahsoka season 2. Just put Thrawn back in the galaxy and say somehow Thrawn returned. That's what they should have done.
They do. They have it. They
Yeah.
have the playbook written.
They've got the playbook, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm interested to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I would imagine season 2, but if not, then I don't know. Because that's the other thing is like you have Balin, like you're saying, that cliff edge going into something.
Yeah. I am genuinely more interested in Balin's story arc than Thrawn being back in the Star Wars
I agree.
galaxy.
Because Balin is so mysterious. We have
Yeah.
literally no idea. He just said, my path is a different, my journey is a different path.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All we know
what
is
does
he
that mean?
wants to break the cycle of
Yeah.
like power and leadership in the Star Wars galaxy. So it doesn't sound like he wants to rule the galaxy or anything. He doesn't want to be a part of that power. He just wants to break the cycle. And then that end scene, we can get to that in a minute because I've still got a few. Well, I don't know if I have any other notes before we get to that. Do you have anything before we?
I have just.
We can get to that in a second, but say your notes and then.
Well, just real quick. I love that Thrawn does not sweat little things when they're happening. He's
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever. Or like Morgan Elsbeth is dead, and then he chooses vital part to everything. He goes, that's like sad casualty.
Yeah.
Oh well, we got to keep going. Like it just
So awesome.
he knows what he needs, which is why he's so awesome.
Yeah.
We see Ahsoka's owl. I don't know the name of the creature.
Morai.
Morai.
Mhm.
Which is cool.
Yes.
This is something we've been seeing since the Clone Wars
Yeah.
and Rebels. And yeah, that's really all I liked before now we get it to the ending. So there's just
Okay.
cool things I like to see.
One other thing is I just loved Ezra stealing Stormtrooper armor because he loved doing that in Rebels.
It's true, he did.
He always used an alias or was wearing a disguise, so pretty funny.
The other thing I was going to say, I felt so stupid at the end. So that the TIE fighter, was it TIE fighter? So yeah, comes in. It wasn't a TIE fighter. It was some type of it. Someone will say it was a ZX5.
Yeah.
Shut up. Comes in, and I'm like, oh, is this Moff Gideon? Literally. Then
When he comes out in Stormtrooper armor, you're still...
I'm still... Now, who's this?
Oh, who's this new player?
When he took off his head, I was sitting next to Elliot in bed watching it. And it's Ezra. I go, I'm an effing moron. How did my brain not even kind of get... Like, of course that's going to be... I felt so stupid.
That is so funny.
I was like, well, they got one person with it.
Yeah,
they got me. So.
That's funny, because when he
so
picks up the transmitter and after the Stormtrooper's dead and they're like saying, we're coming to your... He like pats him on the chest and he goes, thanks, buddy, and then picks up his legs. I was like, he's going to put on his armor. Yeah.
Not me. I'm like, oh, he's hiding the body.
That's so funny, dude.
So that was silly of me.
I loved Thrawn's tactic of like using Anakin against Ahsoka when he's departing, and I can't remember what he said about Anakin, but he like says he has a similar that Ahsoka has a similar path or something like that,
right? So
like implying that she'll fall.
Right. Yeah. Oh yes. He said you I predicted your actions just like your master, and then maybe you have the same path. Yeah. The same path of going him. You know,
yeah.
Like, oh.
And I think that's really interesting because she's just reconciled with the fact that like, you know, Anakin is okay, like it's not my fault, but then Thrawn is trying to bring her back into that headspace, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So
really awesome. So that was. I mean, it just shows Thrawn using his tactics, being very smart, being manipulative, and getting in your head. Really cool. So my thing that I had, and maybe I'm just wrong, when I looked at the statue that Balin's on at the very end, it looked like the father, but I don't know who that is. I mean, I know who the father is, but was it somebody else? I just who my first impression looked like.
It's definitely the father.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Because on the left there's the son.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I just saw what he was on.
Dude, we gotta watch this on a real TV. That's maybe you didn't see it because it is kind of obscured. So it's actually really interesting. It's the father and he's pointing to something, and in the distance there's like a light. Okay.
Okay, I saw that.
On his left is a statue of the son. On his right is a statue, the body of the daughter, but her head is destroyed. So she's like totally gone. So that's going to be, I mean, a ton of symbolism there because my buddy Parker and I were talking about this today. The daughter gave up her life force to save Ahsoka, right? So from that moment, Ahsoka has pretty much embodied the daughter or the light side. Right. And that's why Morai is always around her, who is also the embodiment or the spirit of the daughter. It's kind of hard to understand.
There's something weird with that.
The father in that Clone Wars arc killed himself.
Yeah.
Right? And then at that point, the son was made weaker because he was lacking the powers of his father, and Anakin killed him.
Right.
So there's been some speculation, because in that Clone Wars arc, the father wants Anakin to replace him.
Right, yes.
So if Ahsoka is the embodiment of the daughter, Anakin, hypothetically, is the embodiment of the father, then who is the son? Could it be Balin? Some people think they're going to introduce Starkiller, but I think that's a little late for that.
Yeah. Seems like too much to throw in.
Yeah. Just interesting to think about. And a lot of people are speculating, just from what I've seen on TikTok and stuff today, that what that statue is pointing at is where Abeloth is imprisoned. So,
who?
So, as of right now, Abeloth is not canon, I don't believe.
Okay. It's like
so basically, she's just this entity that transcends like the Force, and she's just this super powerful, like capable of destroying the galaxy being. And she was the mother in that situation. And she tried to toe the line between the light and the dark, and something happened. I don't know. I don't read the books, the non-canon books or whatever.
Yeah, I don't.
But
stay away from that voodoo.
She's basically this galaxy level threat within the Force.
Oh. Wow.
And from what I've understood is that the son, the father, and the daughter somehow imprisoned her. So people are thinking that light that's emitting out there and what these statues are pointing at is where she's imprisoned on Peridia. So
Interesting. That's awesome. That's some deep lore.
if Balin releases that, that would break the cycle of power. That would
Because that
destroy everything.
Yeah.
He could restart. So that would mean, everything he said a couple episodes ago would be to that end. So
So 2 things.
Yeah.
And then when you say that, what I wonder is if, like, to free her, if you need the daughter, which means Ahsoka's with him there on the planet, but maybe he's going to need Ahsoka to do that.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
So I don't know. Interesting to look at. The second thing I have is, sitting from a writing standpoint, Balin, Ray, what's his name? The actor who passed away.
Stevenson.
He's no longer with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they're going to... I would hope that they would just recast.
Yeah.
Just a simple recast. You don't need to explain it, because, I mean, typically in Star Wars, we love everything to follow. Like, oh, this guy's him, love continuity. However, it's like, I really hope they don't try to do some AI thing.
No.
That would suck. I don't want them to be like, oh, he died, I'm his brother, and I'm taking over what he was doing.
No. Yeah.
It has to be, right? It has to be a recast.
I hope they've learned from the Luke fiasco.
Right.
Because here's been a criticism of Disney for a while now. They spent over $1 billion on this IP, on Star Wars. And then they never really used... what people love about Star Wars is, yes, the greater galaxy. But what we've always loved is the Skywalkers. Luke and Leia and Han. Ray, of course. So they built a continuity, but they fumbled our legacy characters that we've always loved. So criticism is, why don't you tap back into those and just do it right?
Right.
So, for example, the end of Mandalorian Season 2, we're reintroduced to Luke, which is awesome because we get to see him in his youth right after Return of the Jedi. He's super powerful. That's what the fans have kind of always wanted. And of course, now it's changed a bit because, but people want that young and powerful Han, Luke, and Leia. But Disney was so afraid after Solo failed to recast, which is so dumb.
Super
they literally, and you look at pictures of the guy, the actor whose face they deep faked.
Yeah, it's
the standing guy looks just like young Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like if you would have put him in that black suit, black cape, green lightsaber, and that random actor, everybody and their dog would have known that's Luke Skywalker, and everybody would have loved it, But they committed to this deepfake thing, and then in the Book of Boba Fett, they bring back same actor, same deepfake.
Right.
So it's like, I think because even when Rogue One came out and they deepfaked Grand Moff Tarkin's face, Peter Cushing was the actor. Mm-hmm. There was this huge ethical question raised of he's dead, you can't use his likeness.
Yeah.
And I think now, especially with AI and everything, and what is happening right now with the actor strike, where they're specifically fighting against
AI
preserving somebody's likeness and not paying them and things like that. There's no way they could do that with Ray Stevenson.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a good point. You're right. There's no way with everything in the climate we're in that they're going to try to do that, because that's so I think
deepfake is off the table. Their best case scenario is a recast.
Just recast.
But if they might be too afraid, and they might just ditch that storyline, which would be a huge misstep.
That was the one thing I was afraid of. I'm like, don't ditch this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is something's good. We're really curious. Everyone's going to be okay with the recast.
Mm-hmm.
It has to. It's not like you're recasting someone because of political things that they've said.
Yeah.
It's just he passed away, and that sucks. But you have a great character going on. I would really like to see this play out. And a recast is fine. I mean, for example, Game of Thrones, when I was watching it, they had this one character. There's a bunch that just recast it all the time. And you're like, what the hell? What happened?
Uh-huh.
And you get taken out for a second.
Right.
But everyone right now who's a Star Wars fan knows that he passed away. So it wouldn't be a surprise for when he comes in, it's a different person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know. And I really am scared they're going to try to ditch it, I don't think they would, but that would really suck.
It just seems like Filoni has enough juice right now that he could say, we're not ditching this, we're just going to recast. And if Kathleen Kennedy or whoever else is at Star Wars wanted to ditch it or, deep fake something, I think Filoni has the juice to say, no, let's just recast. So we'll see.
Davey, come on. Don't do
Davey
it.
Filoni's, please.
Well, and one last thing to what you were saying earlier. With Han Solo, and that's why they're scared to recast and all this junk. Like, I think season 2 Mandalorian, that was cool to bring Mark Hamill and do all deep fake and everything. But that was a short scene. It was really cool. Oh, it's him. But I think after that, you could have put in somebody else after.
Absolutely, yeah.
It wouldn't have been, especially the actor, like you're saying. He looks very similar to Mark Hamill.
And not even to get too deep into the intricacies of deepfake, but it's really difficult to mimic human speech and make a mouth look real.
Yeah.
So, for example, there are certain words they just can't include and they have to write around. In the Book of Boba Fett, it's pretty apparent. You can't say things that like you can't say a th sound because it's really hard to replicate and animate. And there are just a lot of words in the English language that you can't say. So in the Book of Boba Fett, he talks kind of funny, replaces words with words that you wouldn't expect. And then every once in a while, they'll cut away from his face when he's talking.
Right. So they can.
So imagine that in a Mandoverse movie, where like the main coolest Jedi in the movie, they just can't even look at his face when they're doing dialogue.
Yeah.
Or so this is getting into, do they have a new character for Luke in the Mandoverse movie and Ray Stevenson? I think they just need to recast both of them.
I agree.
Because, like you said, all Star Wars fans are aware of it right now.
We know
it's
Mark
just so
Hamill's
much easier.
Old, if you want to put Luke in, we understand that. Like, deep fake is cool, but it's not sustainable for a long action film. Yeah, for a short scene, of course. Yeah, but then again, I mean, they did use Carrie Fisher. A lot of that was she was dead with their last movie, wasn't she?
Yes, but that was previously recorded stuff, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, but I thought I heard they had a lot that was her granddaughter. Stood in for her.
Yeah, so I know like Rogue One, I think it's her niece or something.
Yeah, something
that plays young her, and then they deep fake her face, and she's on screen for like 5 seconds. Yeah, I can't remember the situation with Rise of Skywalker.
Anyway, point is, I know you're scared, but you just gotta do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I want to dive in all that.
Okay, well, perfect. I only have one more note here.
Let's hear it.
I just liked Anakin being there in his force ghost form.
We were missed enough.
Because we had seen him in the previous episodes and we were like, well, is that a force vision? Is that really him? This, from my understanding, for him to appear like that, he has to be a force ghost, and that's actually his spirit.
Robes were the same, right?
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it had to have been his spirit because he was appeared outside of the world between worlds. Mm-hmm. Super cool. Yeah. Loved it. And that's what, when I was watching it, when Sabine looks out into the distance, she's like, I thought I felt something. I heard. I can't remember what she says. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're going to. Well, my first thought was, I wonder if in The Mandalorian, they're going to have the same timeline going on. Something big's going to happen there that she senses. Right. And then it cut to that. I was like, oh, that makes more sense than that. Yeah. Way better.
But it will be interesting to see how, because it looks like Mandalorian Season 4 is happening. I just confirmed that. Looks like it. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see how that ties in timing-wise with them getting on, like, who comes to save them, how do they get back, whatever. So,
yeah. Well, we'll have to put up some predictions for next week. And we're going to watch Andor. Next week is at the plan, or we're going to do a predictions episode and then jump into Andor.
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Okay, we could do, like, a recap predictions thing.
And we could watch they have that special on there, too, of Ahsoka behind.
Oh, yeah.
So we can watch that, too. Talk about it.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll do that, and then we'll jump into Andor. But other than that, like I said, I wish it was a bigger cliffhanger. I mean, it is a cliffhanger. They're stranded, you know what I mean? But,
I don't know. Yeah, I think there was plenty that was set up. Like, I like them pulling up on Dathomir.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that,
I think they're going to I think Thrawn is going to gather the Imperial remnants, because we saw in The Mandalorian Season 3 that everybody's obsessed with Thrawn coming back, the guys that are still around.
Yeah.
So,
they got some stuff for him. They got some love for him.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. He'll have this army of undead Night Sisters there on Dathomir. He'll probably use it as like a base of operations to gather the Imperial remnant. And I think eventually the movie will be like a war on Dathomir between the Mandalorians and the Jedi and the Imperial Remnant, because we know that the New Rebellion's probably not going to help.
Yeah, because we've seen that they're not going to help.
And there's like no mention of it. And of course, this is always the problem with retconning stuff, but there's no mention of it in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Of anything about Thrawn coming back or anything like that. So
maybe it's just one of those wars on Endor kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was a huge event, but rarely mentioned or mentioned. So. Yeah, but that's all I have. It was Ahsoka, fun to watch. I was enjoying it.
Yeah, I liked it. There were some slow episodes. There's some great episodes.
Here's my thing. We talked about the first part was slow. Middle, up until this episode, I was like on the edge, excited for each week. And this one I was excited for, but I'll say it let me down. I think that's fine to say.
Yeah, it was a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
For sure. Because, and again, I think it just has to do with pacing. Like, there was no sense of urgency, and then Thrawn just leaves. Like, he's literally, every time, apart from when he's like actively intimidating Ahsoka and game planning for her, everything he says is like, we need more time, we need to go, we need more time, we need to go, and then he just goes. It's like, I don't know, just kind of underwhelming. But,
and he never leaves where he's at.
Yeah, seriously.
So
and that's a great point. The whole series, he's literally standing in the same spot.
He doesn't sit, sleep, or eat.
Yeah. But that's always something I kind of have issue with these shows, be it Marvel or Star Wars, is like it's always building for the next thing. Even like MCU movies, like you're always looking forward to the next thing because this episode's purpose or movie's purpose is to just run you into the next one.
Yeah.
And it's not a great way to tell stories, but
no, it's not. You kind of hope they could tell themselves independently. Like A New Hope told itself independently.
Yeah.
Empire Strike Back doesn't because it bridges.
Right.
But, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. If you're still
I was just going to say, even The Mandalorian season 3, which I did not like at all. The final 2 episodes, the finale, part 1 and part 2, pretty much, are action packed and they're like worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
And they set up something.
Yeah.
I feel like this episode, like if there weren't all those cliffhangers at the end and this wasn't setting up something, I'd be like, this is trash.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
this was the end.
I mean, yeah.
Kind of how Forrest, our friend said he was like this. He didn't like it because he thought this was it. He thought it just ended.
Right.
Which I don't think he knew there was a movie. Maybe he did.
Oh, I don't know. But he was meaning like, dude, does Ahsoka just die? Like, is that the end of her?
Yeah. I'll have to ask him. But he definitely didn't know there's a planned season 2, not confirmed. The last thing I did want to say, I love how long it took for Sabine to master the Force.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at, because it was cool that she was able to get the lightsaber, and I really think that gave her the confidence to do the push for Ezra to get up there.
Yeah.
And the other thing I really liked about it as well is that, I mean, it's not only this season she's been trying. She was trying beforehand, we can tell, with Ahsoka that they've been training. And so it really just kind of nips it in the butt for Rey.
Yeah.
That there's something wrong there because of how hard it was. But then again, we also know Sabine is not that in tune with the Force. So it really
at all.
was hard. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Great build up over 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. That's all I've got too.
All righty. Well, thank you for being a disciple of the Force. You held that on me there.
Sorry. I didn't know if you had